Hello, everybody. This is your video instructions for the visual presentation that you are going to be working on this week. So, for this week, you've got multiple components to this presentation. So, it's one big assignment that's going to carry you through all 5 days. So, let's take a look at what it is you're going to be doing. Your learning objective: determine the theme and analyze its development through the plot, provide a summary of a text, analyze the characters and see how they develop over the course of the text, and cite text evidence to support your analysis. So you're doing quite a bit. But everything that we have done up to this point has led you to this, okay? So you're going to be creating a visual presentation that's going to demonstrate your understanding of the short story you chose. You've got quite a few choices in the short stories. So take a look at the descriptions, take a look at the ratings, and choose the story that you think is going to work best for you. The presentation must identify the following literary devices. So you have to have characterization and point of view, conflict, plot structure, theme, and figurative language. And you're like, what does that mean, Goucher? Well, luckily for you, I've got a list. These are all the terms that you have learned so far in this class. So when we talk about characterization, is the character a protagonist, an antagonist? Are they a static or a dynamic character? Are they a flat character, a round character, or a stock character? So you've learned all these terms. If you don't remember what they are, there is a Google Slides presentation that has all this information back. I believe it's in Module 2. So go back and take a look at that and refresh your memory. So when we talk about characterization, this is what I am looking for. Conflict, there was another presentation you did. There's internal and external conflict. We had descriptions, definitions, and examples of all of these. So again, if you don't remember, go back to Module 2 and find that. Point of view, the story is told usually from one of these 3 points of view. So based on your knowledge, which one is it? You're going to do plot structure. So we did a Google Slides on this. So make sure, and this is actually also part of your summary of the story. So exposition, where it begins, what is the conflict, what are some of the events that lead up to the climax. The rising action is where those events create the conflict and make it more and more serious. It creates tension, it creates suspense, and it drives the action to the climax, where the protagonist has to either make a decision or take action. And whatever he or she does, it just changes the whole rest of the story. That gives you the falling action. Those are the events that then lead to the resolution or the solution for the conflict. Theme and symbolism and figurative language, those were things that you received in Module 4. You got those last week. So if you need to, go back and take a look at those as well. Okay, so you have to identify each of those things in your presentation. Now, this is a visual presentation. There are lots of ways to visualize or to see your information. So you've got quite a few options. You can do an infographic, which is a digital poster, and I will give you some suggestions of sites where you can create one for free. You can do a hand-created poster if you want. If you like to draw and do that kind of thing, you could do that and then just use that in your presentation. You can do Google Slides. If you're logical like I am, and you'd have one slide for each of those things, or maybe 2 slides. You can include some pictures in there if you want. Or you can just do a video of you talking through your identification and analysis. So that's basically, if you're doing a video, that's all about you. You're on the screen, we're seeing your face, you're making eye contact with us. Maybe you've got some props that you want to bring in that tie to the story. That would be kind of cool too. Then you're going to be recording a Flipgrid for your short story presentation so that everybody in class has an opportunity to see your presentation. Now, if you choose to do an infographic or a Google Slides, you can record your screen while you are speaking. So those, we would see what you've created on the screen and we would hear your voice, but we wouldn't necessarily see your face. To do that, you want to choose options in Flipgrid. And then one of the options is record screen. You'll click that, and then there's instructions that follow after that. If you want to make a video, you can do your video separate from Flipgrid and then upload it to Flipgrid. Or you can just do your video right on Flipgrid. But if you decide to upload a video, it has to be an .mov, a .mp4, or a .webm. And it's the same idea. You choose options. I should add that in there. Choose options and then upload video and follow the instructions. Okay. So I'm giving you 4 options. If you have a 5th option that you think would be great, email me. Let's talk about it. Okay. I'm open to hear what you have to say. All right, so how is this being scored? Well, you're getting 2 scores. You're getting a reading score to show that to demonstrate your understanding of the story, or that you found a theme, that you can pull out quotes, that you can talk about the characters. So there's a reading score that's worth 25 points, and there is a presentation score, which is worth 10 points. So let's go over that. In order to receive a satisfactory, that means that you have done the work at a 9th grade level, what I would expect any 9th grader to do. You would clearly identify the protagonist and antagonist, as well as the point of view of your story. You would clearly identify the type of conflict in the story, or conflicts. Stories can have more than one conflict, you know. You would clearly summarize the plot of your story. You would clearly identify a theme topic. So a topic might be one of those one-word themes like friendship or honesty. And you would include 2 pieces of evidence from the story. That means 2 quotes directly from the story that supports your thinking about what you think the theme is. Now, you may not know me well enough, but I am never going to tell you that theme, what you come up with as the theme is wrong. If the message you get from the story is that message, that's the message for you. The only thing I'm going to mark you down for is if you have no text evidence to back it up. So if you say the theme is about climate change, okay, show me 2 pieces of evidence that support your opinion that the theme is climate change, and explain why you think that. Okay. Why do you think this quote is showing you that climate change is the theme of this piece? Okay. And then finally, you clearly identify figurative language from the story. There's lots of types of figurative language. So pick one, I would expect you to at least find 2 or 3 different types. You might show me 10 similes. That's awesome. That shows me you know similes. I want to see a range of figurative language. So you could find an example of personification, a simile, maybe an onomatopoeia. Now, I will say not every story is going to have all of these either. So you can't always find them all. So that's why you really got to be paying attention. You got to really make sure those notes you take are looking for those things. So if you do that, that is satisfactory. That would earn you a 20 out of 25 points. That's what I expect a 9th grader to do at this point. Now, for those of you who like a little more challenge, the exemplary category goes a little bit deeper. So yes, you're going to clearly identify, but I also want you to designate the types of characters. So all the characters within your story, you're not only telling me who the protagonist and the antagonist is, you're going to tell me, are they static or dynamic? Are they a flat or a round or a stock character? Okay. And you're including evidence to support that. So you're going to pull out a text. This character is a dynamic character, and I know this because you see them changing when they say this. Okay. Also, point of view, clearly identify the point of view and includes text evidence to support your identification of the point of view. As far as types of conflict, you would identify it and tell me where it starts in the plot structure. So that would be your text evidence. The conflict is man versus man, and it starts here, and you give me the quote. Okay. Summarizes the plot of the story, explicitly identifying the 6 parts. Explicitly means clearly and systematically. So when we look at plot structure, you're saying this is the exposition. This is the conflict. These are examples of the rising action. Rising action, it's lots of things. I don't need to see all of it in the story, but I would like to see at least 2 instances that you think are examples of rising action. This is the climax. This is one example of the falling action, because sometimes falling action is much shorter than the rising action. So at least give me one. And this is where the story is resolved. And again, because you're using quotes, you're going to use from the story. So that would be your text evidence. Clearly identifies a theme statement. Theme is not just a topic. It is a statement that the writer is making. It's a lesson or a moral or something that he or she believes humans need to know. So to be exemplary, you would give me a sentence or a statement about something that is universal, that all humans should understand, and you see it in this story. And you're going to support that with multiple pieces of evidence. Multiple is 3 or more. So you're going to pull out quotes, or you're going to pull out text, events, or some way in which the character changes that adds to what you think the theme statement is. And remember, theme is not specific to the story or the character. Theme is something universal. It's for all people. It's for humanity, for all human beings. So don't focus on the theme being something that's just in that story. It's a life lesson for everyone. And then finally, clearly identifies multiple types of figurative language. That would be more than 2. Multiple. So a couple is 2, multiple is 3 or more. So you got to give me more than 2 types of figurative language and a symbol from the story. So find an object that represents itself and also represents an idea, a belief, a concept beyond itself, and find text evidence to support that. Okay? So you can see exemplary, if you are going for that 25 out of 25, you're going to have to do a little more work. You have to put in more effort. You have to show that you understand what these concepts are, and you can apply them in a deeper, more meaningful way. That goes above and beyond 9th grade expectations. For presentation, that's worth 10 points. A satisfactory means that you present the information and the evidence clearly so that listeners can follow your organization. Guess what? You've kind of been given the organization, right? If you follow in this order, that makes logical sense. First thing you do is you meet the characters, then you understand the conflict, then you get to know the plot. After the story is when you talk about theme, and figurative language has to do with the writing of the story. So that also usually comes after you're done with the story. So this is kind of already in a logical organization. So if you just want to follow this, perfect. And then your presentation style is appropriate to the purpose, audience, and task. Your audience is not me. Your audience is your classmates, because they are all going to see it, because this is on Flipgrid. So think about your audience. Think about who it is you're presenting to. What are some things that they're going to want to hear as teenagers? What would interest them in your story? The task is you are trying to show me that you can identify those literary devices. So make sure that for me, that you're showing all of those. So that's a satisfactory. For an exemplary, you're doing the same thing, but conveying a distinct perspective. Distinct means that it is personal to you. Perspective is how you see it. So, in addition to giving information, you're also including your perspective and how you see it, not necessarily what the experts might see, or people who study stories would see, but this is personal to you. And then the substance of your information and your presentation style are appropriate. That means what you've included in your presentation, the substance of it. When you're looking for evidence, are you finding the best, most relevant pieces of evidence? When you are sharing the figurative language, are you using figurative language that is most identifiable, or are you finding stuff that's kind of subtle, but it shows that you understand the concept and you can find it? So again, because the exemplary is going beyond ninth grade standards as far as what you have to do in the presentation, you're also going to be including that deeper information as well. Okay. All right, so that is your visual presentation. That's what you're going to be doing. So on Monday, you are going to be looking at 3 different types of reading strategies, and you're going to choose one to do for the story that you choose. You are also then going to choose your story. I would suggest you start reading on Monday, but you can do it on Tuesday if you want. I am setting Wednesday aside for you to really work on finding those literary devices, going back to those Google Slides, refreshing your memory on what those are if you need to. Thursday is all about putting it together, getting your visuals done. If you're doing a Google Slides, doing the slides and putting the information on there. If you're doing an infographic, creating the infographic and putting the information on there. And then Friday is set aside specifically for you to record. So that is what you will be doing this week. This entire project will take the entire week. You can choose to follow my structure as far as for the week, or you can do it sooner if you want. If you get something done and you want to devote more time, that's perfectly fine as well. I'll let you have that freedom, but this is your presentation, and I'm really looking forward to your videos. If you have any questions, be sure to reach out, call me, email, go to Zoom to ask. But happy reading and presenting.